15 stars destroyed their careers live on talk shows. Audiences once adored them on the big screen, praised them as legends, and welcomed them into their homes. Yet just a few reckless minutes on live television was all it took to shatter that image. These were the moments where Hollywood's most untouchable figures slipped up under the spotlight and paid dearly for it. From Academy Award winners to comedy favorites, these celebrities enjoyed everything until one talk show appearance tore it all apart. Some collapsed under ego, others were consumed by addiction. A handful simply couldn't survive the raw pressure of live TV. But every story led to the same harsh reality. Their reputations never fully recovered. While PR teams scrambled and executives panicked, the public watched in disbelief as entire careers unraveled in real time. These weren't slip-ups that faded away. They were televised disasters that erased fortunes and respect overnight. Today, we're exposing the most infamous implosions ever aired on television. Why did these stars throw away everything they built? And could any of them have salvaged their image by avoiding that fateful moment? Stay with us as we reveal 15 celebrities who wrecked their careers on talk shows. I'm asking questions here. I know these issues run deep, but here's the real problem, Tom Cruise snapped. You don't understand psychiatry, I do. The incident forever known as Tom Cruise's couch jumping scandal started in May 2005. At that time, he was Hollywood's biggest box office draw, with hits like Top Gun, Jerry Maguire, and Mission Impossible, earning $25 million per film and controlling studio fortunes. But that spring, everything changed in an instant. Professing his love for Katie Holmes, Cruise leapt on Oprah's couch, raised his fists, and dropped to his knees. His outburst was so erratic that some viewers thought it might be staged, while others felt secondhand alarm. Oprah tried to steer the chaos, laughing nervously, "You're gone, you are gone," but Cruise carried on as if nothing was wrong. The backlash hit hard and fast. Comedians lampooned him endlessly. Online culture exploded with memes, making him a global punchline. Almost overnight, the world's most admired actor looked like he had lost his grip. And the fiasco didn't stop there. Weeks later, Cruise clashed with Matt Lauer on The Today Show while promoting War of the Worlds. He tore into psychiatry, called Lauer glib, and delivered a condescending lecture that made viewers cringe. "You don't know the history of psychiatry, I do," he insisted, leaving Lauer visibly rattled. The fallout was brutal. Despite Spielberg's direction, War of the Worlds struggled to hit expectations. Paramount cut ties after 14 years, with Sumner Redstone labeling Cruise's antics as creative suicide. His public approval rating, once sky-high, crashed by 40%. Although Cruise clawed his way back through high-risk stunts and blockbuster sequels, the Oprah couch moment left scars that cost him millions and years of credibility. The lesson was unavoidable. Even the most bankable meme in Hollywood can implode in front of a live audience. Another moment came with Michael Richards, remembered by millions as Kramer from Seinfeld. For 9 seasons, he was the quirky neighbor audiences adored. But one night in 2006 changed that image forever. During a comedy set at the Laugh Factory, Richards lost control when heckled by African-American audience members. He erupted in a racist tirade so vile that it stunned the room. The footage, captured on a cell phone, spread online at lightning speed, becoming a cultural firestorm. Desperate to explain, Richards appeared remotely on The Late Show with David Letterman, while Jerry Seinfeld tried to support him on stage. The apology dragged on for 6 awkward minutes, leaving the audience shifting uncomfortably between pity and disbelief. Richards claimed, "I'm not racist," but the damage had already been sealed. "That's the crazy part of all this," Richards argued, while the audience laughed uncomfortably, mistaking it for a comedy routine. Seinfeld quickly had to shut them down. "Cut it out, this isn't a joke." Richards' apology landed awkwardly, sounding more like self-pity than an admission of wrongdoing. "I am truly, truly sorry," he began, before going off topic about African Americans and insisting, "I'm not racist, that's the insane part of this." The fallout was swift and permanent. Within a matter of days, Richards declared he was done with stand-up. The offers disappeared. Though he still collected residuals from Seinfeld, Richards' career as a beloved TV fixture was finished. His short set-down on Letterman, meant to repair his image, only convinced viewers that he was either detached from reality or hiding troubling beliefs. What could have been brushed aside as a terrible outburst instead became, thanks to that broadcast, proof of something darker. People don't laugh, cut it out, turn down the noise. Stop it now, everyone. Lower your voices. Madonna, too much for late night. By 1994, Madonna had already cemented her place as music's ultimate boundary breaker. From rolling around in a wedding dress at the VMAs to releasing her explicit sex book, she had made a career of daring taboos and testing limits. But her Late Show with David Letterman appearance on March 31, 1994, managed to shock even him. From the instant she arrived, the discomfort in the studio was obvious. She handed Letterman her underwear and dropped profanity 14 times, unheard of for TV then. When the interview ended, she stayed seated, puffing a cigar and joking crudely about Letterman's private life. "This is live, folks, and we'll have to start censoring everything," Letterman warned his crowd, clearly annoyed. At one point he joked, "I've never seen a woman light up a cigar. That usually happens after something else, doesn't it?" The show became notorious with over 130 bleeps during broadcast. Viewers and critics were split down the middle. Some thought it was Madonna at her boldest. Others thought it was a desperate stunt from a fading star. The backlash was heavy. Radio stations banned her songs for a time. Her Bedtime Stories album, which came later that year, didn't perform as well as past records. The spectacle fed the idea that Madonna thrived on controversy rather than pure artistry, a reputation that haunted her afterward. Though she bounced back and reinvented herself repeatedly, that infamous Letterman interview became a defining shift. No longer just a daring artist, many saw her as someone willing to spark outrage at any price. "Stop twisting this. You don't get humor. You shouldn't be the one doing this interview. Sorry." Joan Rivers, her final walk-off. Rivers had built a comedy empire on bluntness, bravery, and never holding back. For decades, she roasted celebrities with her catchphrase, "Can we talk?" By 2014, at 81 years old, she had weathered endless comebacks, found new fame on Fashion Police, and blazed a trail for women in comedy. But on July 5, 2014, what should have been a simple CNN interview about her new book turned into something else. When host Frederica Whitfield called Rivers' fashion critiques mean, Rivers bristled. "It's not mean, it's not mean, it's not mean. I'm honest. Your viewers say the same things on their couch." As Whitfield kept pressing, asking about Rivers wearing fur on the cover, Rivers lost patience. "This whole thing is a defensive ambush. Are you wearing leather shoes? Then zip it." In frustration, she yanked off her earpiece and stormed out. "I'm leaving," Rivers said. "I'm leaving because I'm here to promote a comedy book and you refuse to laugh." The footage exploded online, with critics saying Rivers finally crossed the line, that the queen of insults couldn't take heat herself. Just 2 months later, Rivers tragically died from complications during a throat procedure, making that fiery CNN exit one of the last images the world had of her. Rivers never lived long enough to witness the fallout of this incident, but many in the industry believed it confirmed the idea that she had become too cutting, too bitter for the times, a comedy legend who didn't keep up with cultural shifts. Instead of celebrating her trailblazing contributions, the CNN walk-off became etched as Rivers' unfortunate closing chapter. In life, you usually know the difference between right and wrong, and I chose wrong. And that brings us here. Hugh Grant, branded the most dreadful guest of all time. Back in 1994, when Hugh Grant stole America's heart with 4 Weddings and a Funeral, he looked set for a lasting run as Hollywood's charming Englishman. Even his 1995 scandal involving a prostitute failed to damage his popularity. Ironically, his humble apology to Jay Leno on The Tonight Show actually made him more endearing. Yet by 2012, Grant's behavior behind the scenes was raising red flags. The person who exposed this most directly was Jon Stewart, who outright called Grant the worst guest ever during a Montclair Film Festival fundraiser. Stewart was brutally honest, saying Grant's 2009 promotion of "Did You Hear About the Morgans" was unbearable. The actor, Stewart recalled, was rude backstage and even trashed the clip provided by his own publicist. "What's that clip?" Grant reportedly asked. "It's awful." Stewart hit back, "Then go make a better film." Grant's attitude irritated Stewart so much that he swore never to invite him again. For a host who spoke with hundreds of stars over 16 years, that was extraordinary. When Grant eventually heard Stewart's critique, he shocked many by admitting guilt. On Twitter, Grant confessed, "Seems my inner crab got loose with a TV producer in 2009. Totally unforgivable." He even added that Stewart was right to slam him. Still, the apology couldn't undo the damage. Hollywood's trust in him plummeted, with studios questioning his reliability. His next projects disappointed at the box office, and offers shifted from leading man to supporting roles. Only in 2016, with Florence Foster Jenkins, did he start rebuilding, embracing quirky characters instead of the rom-com persona that once defined him. Yet those few minutes of arrogance on The Daily Show and Stewart's public call-out cost Grant years of career momentum and millions in paychecks. And then came Roseanne Barr's downfall after the Fishmans turned against her. Why didn't he defend me then? Why didn't he speak before the cancellation? They had 20 minutes to act. Why not say Roseanne's reboot was worth saving? By 2018, Roseanne Barr was enjoying a shocking second act. Over 20 years after her iconic sitcom ended, ABC revived Roseanne to blockbuster ratings. Its debut pulled in 18 million viewers, numbers unheard of in modern TV. At the height of her return, Barr was earning $500,000 per episode. But on May 29, 2018, she tweeted a racist remark about Valerie Jarrett, a former Obama advisor. Within hours, ABC scrapped the show despite its huge success. Her career imploded instantly, with co-stars denouncing her and reruns of the original series yanked from syndication. Her attempt at damage control and awkward media blitz only worsened things. On Sean Hannity's show that July, Barr stumbled through an apology while complaining about being labeled racist. "I said sorry to her and to the American people," Barr explained, before shifting into grievances about her treatment. "I messed up. I lost everything, and I regretted it before I lost everything." But her September interview with Dr. Oz revealed just how out of touch she sounded. Instead of giving a direct apology, Barr blamed her medication, politics, and even claimed ignorance of Jarrett's race. Viewers didn't buy it. When Dr. Oz tried moving towards solutions, Barr grew defensive. "I've said sorry plenty. It's been 2 months. I've apologized, explained, begged for forgiveness." These appearances hardened public opinion. The scandal wasn't only about one tweet, it reflected on who Barr was. ABC retooled the show as The Conners, writing off Barr's character and continuing without her. The move sent a loud message. The network valued the series, but not its controversial star. What should have been a triumphant return collapsed in months. Instead of saving her career, Barr's talk show excuses dug her deeper, wiping out tens of millions in earnings. "We tackle real issues with humor so people can take the medicine," she once said. But now the stage was set for another collapse, Kanye West, the unraveling of a genius. Back before he officially became Ye, Kanye West was infamous for blunt remarks and headline-grabbing behavior. As the late 2000s wore on, his talk show spots shifted away from music promotion and increasingly exposed his volatile mindset. His 2018 sit-down on Jimmy Kimmel Live stood out. When pressed about his support for Donald Trump, West froze for several uneasy seconds, forcing Kimmel to cut to commercials. When the show resumed, the subject was dropped entirely, an unusual retreat for a program built on viral exchanges. Yet it was his 2022 appearance on Piers Morgan Uncensored that truly highlighted the decline of his public image. Asked about anti-Semitic remarks, West initially defended himself before offering a shaky, partial apology. "I'll apologize to the people I hurt with the Death Con comment," he muttered, pointing back to a now infamous tweet. "I think I created pain and confusion, and I regret hurting families who had no connection to my own struggles," he added. Morgan quickly challenged him. "That's not an apology, that's an excuse." The exchange became a spectacle, solidifying concerns over West's judgment. Within weeks, Adidas cut ties with Yeezy, dissolving a partnership once valued at $1.5 billion. Soon after, Gap, Balenciaga, and CAA followed suit. For years, West's talent had overshadowed his controversies, but these appearances, alongside unfiltered social media rants, made him radioactive to sponsors. In days, his wealth reportedly dropped from billions to roughly $400 million. For West, these interviews weren't minor PR flubs. They marked the unraveling of both his reputation and his business empire. Norm Macdonald's rise and fall offers another cautionary tale. Known for fearless, deadpan humor and jokes others wouldn't dare touch, he made both die-hard fans and powerful enemies. Among them was NBC's Don Ohlmeyer, who removed him from Weekend Update in 1998. 20 years later, Macdonald was enjoying a resurgence. Netflix gave him Norm Macdonald Has a Show, scheduled for September 2018, promising a long-awaited showcase for his style. But while promoting the series, Macdonald made headlines for defending Louis C.K. and Roseanne Barr, downplaying the suffering of their victims. The outcry was immediate, and his Tonight Show booking was pulled just hours before taping. Trying to recover, Macdonald appeared on The View. Instead of clarifying, he made things worse. "What I meant was the victims didn't have to deal with this," he stammered, adding that losing everything in a day was devastating before stumbling into an offensive remark about Down syndrome. "That's my new phrase," he joked awkwardly as the hosts grimaced. The moment was widely panned as one of the worst apologies in talk show history. Netflix kept the show, but it got little push and ended after one short season. Macdonald's willingness to go too far had finally caught up with him, and his late career comeback evaporated. When he died in 2021, fans remembered his brilliance, but also that disastrous final TV moment. Charlie Sheen's implosion may be the most notorious of all. In early 2011, he was TV's top-paid actor, making $1.8 million per episode on 2.5 Men. By spring, he was fired, embroiled in custody battles, and serving as a public warning about drugs, mental health struggles, and unchecked media access. His downfall peaked with a February 28 Good Morning America interview. Hyperactive and rambling, Sheen rattled off bizarre lines. "I'm not bipolar, I'm bi-winning," and "I've got tiger blood, man." When asked about drug use, he boasted, "I'm on a drug, it's called Charlie Sheen. Try it once, you'll die." The bizarre performance was supposed to save his role. It instead confirmed CBS's decision to cut him loose. Days later, Warner Brothers terminated his contract, citing reckless conduct. The fallout was brutal. Sheen lost an estimated $100 million in salary, and while FX's anger management initially looked promising, it quickly faded, paying him a fraction of his former earnings. More damaging, audiences saw him less as a rebellious star and more as an unhinged addict. His Tiger Blood soundbite overshadowed his acclaimed film work in Platoon and Wall Street. Though he later disclosed his HIV diagnosis and sought image rehab, the chaotic interview became the defining moment of his career collapse. Mark Wahlberg's stumble was less catastrophic but still revealing. Once a troubled Boston kid who reinvented himself as a model, rapper, actor, and finally producer, he had built a reputation as one of Hollywood's rare redemption stories. But during a 2013 episode of The Graham Norton Show, viewers witnessed a relapse into old habits. Promoting Broken City alongside Sarah Silverman, Michael Fassbender, and James McAvoy, Wahlberg appeared visibly drunk from the start. He interrupted repeatedly, plopped onto Norton's lap, and lobbed inappropriate remarks towards Sarah Silverman, his former flame. When Norton asked bluntly if he was drunk, Wahlberg slurred, "I'm not drunk, I'm just tired," an excuse few bought. At one point, he touched Silverman's hair and face, leaving her visibly unsettled. The appearance exploded online for all the wrong reasons, with audiences and critics alike calling it awkward, humiliating, and hard to watch. From an actor who had spent years moving away from his rough beginnings, the drunken act was especially damaging. Afterward, Wahlberg's team scrambled for damage control. He personally disappeared from the spotlight for months, pulling out of multiple scheduled talk show slots. When he finally stepped back onto the promo trail for his film Two Guns, his behavior was far more cautious. Although Wahlberg bounced back over time, industry sources noted that major roles he was once set for went to other actors in the months after his Norton appearance. For a star who had worked endlessly to earn respect as both actor and producer, one sloppy night on British television carried an unexpectedly steep cost. And Joaquin, sorry you couldn't make it tonight. Joaquin Phoenix, method acting gone wrong. When Phoenix showed up on The Late Show with David Letterman on February 11, 2009, it was obvious to viewers something wasn't right the second he walked out. Wearing a thick beard, dark glasses, and chewing gum, Phoenix muttered jumbled answers and acted lost in thought. Letterman asked, "You've been out of films for a while. What have you been up to?" "I've been working on music," Phoenix slurred, claiming a new hip-hop career. When Letterman tried bringing up his latest movie, Two Lovers, Phoenix barely strung words together. The bizarre interview peaked when Letterman dryly joked, "Joaquin, sorry you couldn't be here tonight." The crowd erupted in laughter while Phoenix sat there in blank silence. What no one realized was that the odd performance was staged for I'm Still Here, a mockumentary directed by Casey Affleck about Phoenix quitting acting for rap. The project was meant as a critique of celebrity obsession and the public's hunger for scandal. The issue was that nobody else knew it wasn't real. For more than a year, Phoenix stayed in character, convincing Hollywood he was spiraling for real. His acting work vanished, with directors too wary to hire someone who looked unstable. When I'm Still Here came out in 2010, critics dismissed it as boring and self-indulgent. At the box office, it fared worse, pulling in under $600,000 on a $2 million budget. Phoenix returned to Letterman later that year to apologize and reveal the hoax, but the damage had already stuck. It took 2 years before he returned in Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master in 2012, and longer still before studios trusted him again. Though Phoenix later regained momentum, even earning an Oscar for Joker in 2020, that Letterman stunt robbed him of prime years and millions in lost opportunity. As experiments go, this one came with an enormous price. I don't even know what that means, but it's cool hearing you say it. Shia LaBeouf, from child star to eccentric artist. LaBeouf's path from Disney Channel kid to Hollywood headliner looked certain when Spielberg tapped him to front the Transformers franchise. By his mid-20s, LaBeouf had appeared in box office hits earning over $4 billion worldwide, making him one of Hollywood's most bankable faces. But a string of odd talk show visits in 2013 and 2014 shifted his career trajectory. On Ellen in October 2013, LaBeouf looked distant and uneasy, giving vague, cryptic answers about his art and stunts. "I'm learning to deal with that banana cake you get handed," LaBeouf told a baffled DeGeneres who struggled to keep the interview alive. Even worse was his Jimmy Kimmel Live appearance the same month, where he rambled through a tale of dropping acid and chasing a stranger during the Broadway show Orphans, which had just fired him. As the story dragged incoherently, the crowd's laughter shifted from with him to at him. These moments lined up with increasingly strange public behavior, like wearing a paper bag at the Berlin Film Festival marked, "I am not famous anymore." Though he would later insist it was performance art, studios lost confidence, fearing he was unstable and unreliable. The once promising next Harrison Ford found himself pushed to indie films and experimental projects. "I became a liability to studios," LaBeouf admitted in 2016. "No one wants to hire the drunk madman yelling about art on the carpet." Although LaBeouf earned praise in smaller films like Honey Boy and The Peanut Butter Falcon, his days as a bankable Hollywood lead ended during those chaotic talk show years. A reminder of how fast A-list fame can unravel when public antics make studios unwilling to gamble millions. Farrah Fawcett, an angel fallen. In the 1970s, Fawcett was America's sweetheart. Her role in Charlie's Angels, that iconic red swimsuit poster that sold 12 million copies, and her sparkling smile made her the ultimate beauty idol of her era. But by the late 1990s, Fawcett's career had slowed to a crawl. Her attempts at serious dramatic work had mixed results, and younger actresses had taken the spotlight. So her June 5, 1997 Late Show appearance was billed as a big return, an effort to promote her new Playboy issue and showcase her star power. Instead, it turned into one of the most uncomfortable talk show appearances ever. From her entrance, Fawcett looked scattered and off balance. She giggled oddly, told endless stories that went nowhere, and lost track of her own words. "Are you okay?" Letterman asked at one point, sounding truly worried. "I'm just having fun," Fawcett replied, her speech slightly slurred. As things dragged on, she grew stranger, standing up to scribble on Letterman's desk and fixing her hair in a mirror. At first, the audience cheered to see the former bombshell, but soon they fell silent, disturbed by the spectacle. Speculation exploded about whether she was high, medicated, or ill. Later, Fawcett claimed she was only nervous and trying to be spontaneous. Regardless, the blow to her image was immediate. The next day, headlines asked if Farrah had lost her grip, overshadowing the very Playboy issue she came to promote. That moment followed her for years, shaping how she was remembered. Though she later gained admiration for facing cancer with bravery until her death in 2009, that one Letterman night reshaped her legacy, from a sex symbol into a cautionary tale about Hollywood aging. New power was political correctness, and Trump bulldozed it. Now, Geraldo Rivera, the nose that wrecked a career. Before his Fox News era, Rivera was carving a name as a serious journalist in the 1980s, known for his Willowbrook exposé. But on November 3, 1988, his talk show aired an episode that changed his reputation forever. The special, Teen Hate Groups, put white supremacists, black activists, Jewish activists, and anti-racist skinheads all on one stage. Predictably, violence broke out almost instantly. In the chaos, someone hurled a chair that smashed Rivera's nose live on TV. "I'm sorry, this isn't what the show is about," Rivera told the cameras. "This is television at its worst." But few believed him. The episode looked engineered for drama, especially since Rivera stayed on camera with tissues in his nose until filming wrapped. The New York Times slammed it as trash TV. and Columbia's Journalism Review ranked it among the lowest points in U.S. broadcasting. Afterward, Rivera couldn't shake the tabloid label. The bloody broadcast became shorthand for sensational daytime TV, his face the symbol of its dissent. "It killed my credibility," Rivera later admitted. "It took a decade to get back." While he later reinvented himself as a war correspondent and then conservative host, the chair incident left a permanent scar. The Yale-trained lawyer, once exposing abuse, was now remembered as just another ratings chaser who let chaos define him. "I look good, I smell good, I feel good, and I sing good." James Brown, the Godfather, stumbles. Known as the hardest-working man in showbiz, Brown revolutionized music with his raw energy and hits like "I Got You, I Feel Good" and "Papa's Got a Brand New Bag." But on CNN's Sonia Live in April 1988, viewers saw a very different James Brown. With sunglasses indoors and his famous styled hair, he looked out of sorts right from the start. Asked about his arrest for assaulting his wife, Brown's answer made no sense. "I'm talking clean, I'm talking proper, I'm talking about the properly thing." His words came out slurred and disconnected. "The thing is, when a man is down, he's down," Brown rambled. Attempts to pivot to his music only sent him into meandering childhood stories. Immediately, speculation was that he was high. That seemed confirmed 3 months later when he led police on a wild chase while reportedly on PCP, landing him 2 years in prison. The CNN interview became the breaking point in his image. Though his musical genius was never erased, Brown, the man, was now seen as troubled and unstable. His sales dropped, and his legendary live shows began drawing smaller crowds. While he had occasional comebacks before his 2006 death, that single CNN moment redefined him from innovator to cautionary tale.